Hi, my name is Jenna Kelly Parker, and I'm a third-year psychology student at University of New South Wales. So today I'm going to be giving you an overview of a study that I conducted. First, we're going to just look at an overall of the study. So I looked at oxytocin administration and ethanol preference in alcohol-dependent male rats. So looking at the introduction and a little bit of why I conducted this specific research. So the Australian Bureau of Statistics in 2023 stated that adult males are more likely to exceed the drinking guidelines than females by 17.7%. So that's kind of the main reason why I decided to do something with alcohol addiction, because I think that alcohol is a very prevalent issue in our society. More importantly, the results from the study by Hansen in 2018 indicate that brain oxytocin decreases the cue reinstatement of alcohol seeking in alcohol-dependent rats. Obviously, due to ethical constraints, we cannot use humans for the study, so we're starting with rats. The reason I decided to use oxytocin was because of the results from the study by Hansen, and it basically showed a correlation between oxytocin and decreased alcohol consumption. Next, we're going to be looking at the aims and hypothesis. So the aim of this study is to investigate how oxytocin influences rats' preference for water over an ethanol solution compared to a group receiving a saline injection. This research seeks to contribute our understanding of the neurobiological mechanisms of the underlying issues in alcohol addiction. It is hypothesized that when rats are injected with 10 units of oxytocin, they will consume the ethanol water solution less frequently compared to rats injected with the saline, where the saline rats will consume the ethanol water solution more often, following a model of alcohol dependency. So looking at the method of my study, it is a between group design, with the placebo being an injection of saline, and that is administered intravenously, or the oxytocin injection, which also is intravenous. There's going to be two groups of male rats, 10 in each group, with a total sample size of 10. And looking at the research conducted by Pastizzi in 2015 and Roberts in 2014, they decided to use rats at the infancy age. So I decided to model it after that. The independent variable in this study is the intravenous administration of either oxytocin or the control, which is saline. And the dependent variable is the number of times the rats choose the water mix with ethanol solution over the plain water. So next, we're going to be looking at my procedure here. Let me make this smaller. I'm sorry. The procedure. So the model I replicated my study after was the model by King in 2021, where rats have access to 20% ethanol solution for 2 hours daily for 4 consecutive days. So this basically creates an alcohol dependency in the rats. The window of receiving the alcohol is going to be from 9 to 11 each morning. There will not be a regular water solution. So it's just the ethanol water solution with 20% alcohol. So starting with the two groups of 10 male rats each, we have the group 1, which is the control group, which is going to be receiving the saline, and group 2, which is the test group, that's going to be receiving the oxytocin. For the next 4 days, the rats will have access to the 20% ethanol solution for 2 hours daily from 9 to 11 a.m. Following those 4 days, the control group is going to be injected with 10 units of saline through an IV, and the test group is going to be injected with 10 units of oxytocin through an IV. After the injections, the rats are put into 2 different housing groups, with the control group in one and the test group in the other. It's going to be standard housing. Everything is the same that they've been experiencing, besides they're going to have a choice. There's going to be 2 accessible water bottles One is containing regular water and the other is containing 20% ethanol alcohol solution. Over the next 3 hours, each housing group is going to be observed and monitored, and the frequency of drinking from each bottle is going to be recorded. So how it's going to go about is the researchers are going to look and just watch for the next 3 hours and make a tally mark for each time the group chooses each bottle. It's not each rat specifically, it's the group. Next, we're going to be looking at the results. And here is a figure created with the data. So the figure is the drink consumption differences between saline and oxytocin injections. On the bottom of the axis, we have the type of injection received, as long with the saline injection on the left and the oxytocin on the right. And on the left axis, the y-axis, it is the number of times they chose each drink. The red is the ethanol water solution, and the blue represents the regular water solution. So we see for the saline injection, the rats preferred the ethanol water solution significantly over the pure water solution. And for the oxytocin injection, we see that they preferred the regular water significantly over the ethanol water injection. Next, the study's finding indicate that the rats receiving the oxytocin injections are more likely to choose the water over the rats receiving the saline, who tended to prefer the alcohol solution. These findings are consistent with what helped us choose to use oxytocin. In 2018, Hansen, their study showed a significant correlation between oxytocin injections and reduced consumptions of ethanol water. Next, looking at our conclusion and the implications. So the conclusion basically states that the results are consistent with the hypothesis, and the findings contained from this animal study will be very vital for the framework of looking at alcohol addiction in the future. And the insights gained from this study will contribute to a broader discussion on the addiction neuroscience, and it emphasizes the intricate relationship between neurochemical signaling, behavioral responses, and the vulnerability to addiction. And then just looking at some of the implications that we have is just the scientific achievements moving forward on how this study could build upon those, educational content, having people learn this in the future, the social impact of the importance and the conversation of addiction, obviously the ethical, because we cannot do this study and give individuals a dependency to alcohol. They would already have to have that. And then the conversation of health and well-being, of just overall addiction and the consequences with those. And lastly, here are the references that were my framework of how I wanted to create my study and the information that I used to build the ideas of this study off of. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to all this today, and I hope that you take something away with you that I said today. Thank you.